Alright, here's the plan. It's been raining all day. Pulling the boat there, if you can see it in the rearview mirror. We're gonna go launch the boat, drive down to the pullout, ride my bicycle back in the rain to where I put the boat in, and then float down to the truck. It's currently 5:41. There is a high tide tonight that's at late tonight. I'll post that in this video so you can see it. I'm going to try to catch that high tide. That high tide will bring fish in. So I'm going to try to get those fish coming in. So we'll see. All right. Probably, I don't know, 12-mile bike ride or something like that. So I'm sure I won't be showing you any of the sights along the way because it's going to be raining. So I'll see you at the boat. Alright, so I feel like I'm riding for the U.S. Postal Service here. We're going to head down to the boat ramp. At the boat ramp I have dry clothes, dry waders, everything underneath this stuff is wet now from sweating. So I'm going to change and then we'll get this adventure underway. Alright, I got my clothes all changed. I got dry socks on, dry long johns, dry waders, new rain jacket that's dry. Even though it's raining outside, it should stay dry. So we're going to go ahead and get underway. Okay, so I got my boat hooked up there. I'm going to pull up my anchor. There we go. We're off and running. And if you watch my other video, you've seen my other king video. You've seen this exact same look, except it was a bit nicer of a day, but just in case, there's a fish wheel over there. So this is a fish wheel. And the way that it works is it keeps turning around like that and it scoops out any fish that are coming upriver and puts them in a bin over there. This is owned by Fish and Game, and that way they can, and the fish are kept alive on the other side, and that way they can see what kind of fish are coming up, and they can weigh them and tell, you know, what the average weight of the fish that comes up here is, and then also what species of fish there are. So they know exactly what's coming in this river then. There should be no surprises. You can see they got a lot of fish down in there. Looks like there's one little king in there. Most of it should be sockeye though. See that king turning around right in there, heading up there. A couple of kings, nice. Not very big kings though. I got my first official piece of drama today. This isn't contrived drama. This is make me mad. This is a brand new rod. Still got the thing on it. I bought this actually about 4 years ago. Put it in storage. It's not go together. Can't go together. Will not fit. I brought the fly rod with me. This is a Lamaglass Kenai King 20 to 30 pound test, extra heavy rod. I have a fly rod with me. I'm hoping this is going to be janky. Really janky. It may not even work. I'm hoping that my king reel will fit on this. So let me back up for a second to tell you how I got to this spot. So I left my boat at the boat ramp and had to ride my bicycle. And so I did not want to leave my rod out for people to get at it. And so I put everything in lock boxes, except the rod wouldn't fit in the lock box, so I stuck it up under here where nobody could see it. So brand new rod, I grabbed the reel, and I'm hoping that the reel will fit on my fly rod, which isn't optimal. And if you're a fly fisherman, I'm sure you're custom. But if it will fit in this reel seat, and at least I can fish. It fits in there kind of cool. This is a Sage 12 weight fly reel, so it's got plenty of oomph for kings. But you know, it's gonna be tough. But we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna rig it all up and see if I can make it work. Not excited about it. I got it tied up. I got it rigged up. I'm not loving it, but it's working so far. Let me get inside the water. So diver. Today we're gonna run spin glows. And the other day I tied up some spin glows and got some stuff ready, and I'll show you that clip right now. All right, so I'm getting ready to go fishing for king salmon. The last time I was out, I did not have the best of luck, so today I'm kind of retying some tackle, getting some stuff ready to go. I'll show you what I'm doing. If you're a king salmon fisherman, you may look at it and go, do it different than that. That's okay. Leave something in the comment section. Tell me how I could do better. But for now, I'm going to show you how I tie up a piece of tackle. This is a 40-pound monofilament line that's called Vanish. It's supposed to disappear in the water so fish can't see it. And I'm going to take a section. I'm going to start with something that's too long. I'm going to start with about 5 feet. Move this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a hook on it. And I'll tell you, I have been very I've used this exact same rig very successfully plunking for salmon. So if you're a plunker, you'll recognize this. So I'm going to put this through the eyelet, and I'm going to put one finger on it here. I'm going to spin this around the shank of the hook about 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to do 12. And then I'm going to find the other end of it here. I'm going to put it back through the hook. This is called an egg loop, by the way. I'm going to pinch that there. Now I'm back to the exact same line that I was using. I'm going to take 5 more spins on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so now that's pinned that down. Now I'm going to pull on this. Now I have a knot, and you'll see these if you buy pre-tied leaders. This is what you've bought, and now you can push this back through if you were going to put eggs on it or anything on there, and then cinch it up, and it holds it next to the hook. But it also is a knot that provides a pretty good pull to hook things up. Now I got a bit of a tail there. I'm probably going to trim that back a smidge, but I would caution people, don't trim everything super tight when you're fishing for big fish, because if you're fishing for the big ones, they pull like crazy, and if you got a knot that you've trimmed up super tight, they might pull it all the way out. That would be bad. Okay, now next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I want to put a spin glow on here eventually, but before I put the spin glow on, I'm going to put on a couple of beads. One bead, 2 bead, and we'll talk about these in a minute and why we do that. And so now what I got is I have a hook and 2 beads like this. I'm going to put my spin glow on. Now I got spin glow and 2 beads below it. And the reason I put the beads below it is if you didn't put the beads there, the spin glow would get caught up on the hook and it would not spin in the air or spin in the water. And so right now, those are like ball bearings down there, and so it spins on that real well. And I put 2. Some people only put 1. I put 2 just because sometimes
one might not spin as well, or you get weeds in there or something like that. I like to have a little bit of space. When a salmon comes up to bite this, I like to have a little space there so that that hook's out there by itself. Lots of times they'll bite short or they'll bite the end of it, and I want the hook right there. Now the next thing I'm going to do, and this is kind of, my kids call it a pro gamer, I'm going to put one more little bead on here, and I'll talk about the purpose of this little bead then. I'm going to put one more bead on here, and this bead then goes to the top of the spin glow, like that. And it seems, that might seem pointless, but sooner or later when you're in the water, and this is going in the water, you're going to have weeds and things floating down the river, and if you don't put a bead here, weeds and stuff will get on your line or get down in the head of that spin glow, and then it'll quit turning. And so that really becomes a weed protector to keep weeds from getting in there. Not to say that it won't happen, but it'll eliminate about 90% of your problems for that. Now I'm going to tie a swivel on here. I only want about probably 14 inches to my swivel. So now I'm going to tie a swivel on here, and again, everybody has their favorite, and everybody can say mine is better. Feel free to leave something in the comment section. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I'm going to use this big giant thing here, and I'll show you why in a minute. Let me show you that knot now. And so I'm going to put this about where I want it to be. I want it to be about there. So I've put my line through the swivel one time. I'm going to put it through a second time, and I'll tell you why here. Normally, let's do this. I put my line through there once. I'm going to put it through a second time in a minute here. And the reason I'm going to put it through a second time is when you hook up a monster fish, if everything is pulling right here, you only have one bit of line. That becomes the weakest point of your entire line, and it will break you off right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this through again. Now I have two there, and then I'm going to do a standard knot that you tie to a swivel. I'm going to go around here about 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's kind of janked up here. There we go. Now I'm going to take the end of this again. I'm going to put it through both of these loops, and let me see if I can hold it here where you can see it. Through both of those loops. There. I'm going to pull it up. And there it is, all tightened up there. And so now, let me trim this off. So we can look at it. And I'm going to leave, watch this, I'm going to leave 1/2 inch on there. So I got a 1/2 inch of tail sticking out there. And so I don't know if you can see it in the GoPro, but there's 2 loops of line there. And so now the weakest point of this line is going to be probably the line itself. And so there we are. When I go king fishing, I'm going to use I'm set up for 3 different setups, 3 different colors. And a lot of it depends on watercolor, what the fish like that day, if the sun's out, if the sun's not out. This is the classic salmon color here. But then I'm also going to use, I've also tied up 2 other colors that I'm going to try out. I think they call this the tiger stripe. I've had a lot of good success with the tiger stripe. I love the tiger stripe. And then I don't know what they call this one, but I'll tell you, I've had lots of success with this color as well. All 3 of these have the mylar wings on them, which is this chrome looking thing. It catches the light and glints the light off. And so that's what I'm going to try for kings. Let me cover real quickly. I use this large swivel here, and this is why I'm using that large swivel. On the main line going back to my reel, I'm going to hook this onto a swivel. This is going to pull in the water like this, and then it goes like this, and it dives it down. And so you have to hook something on the bottom, and a big swivel like this, I've had lots of different swivels, swivel like that will fit through there, clip, and then it allows some movement back and forth so it's not too janky. Some people run a little chain off here and hook onto a chain. That works as well. This is what I'm going to do for this trip. So all 3 of these rigs are tied up with these large swivels just for that purpose. we'll see you on the river.
Okay, so today I'm going to use different spin glows than I tied up, because the ones I tied up, I was expecting it to be a sunny day, so I tied up ones with these mylar wings on them. But I want to use, but the mylar on the sun, it'll glint the sun, but in a crappy day like today, it's just going to look black down there. And so I'm going to go to something with white wings on it, like that one. That's kind of the classic salmon rig. I tied these up this morning, or actually today in my pickup truck, when I was getting ready to go here. Alright, so it's still raining. I got you guys are under a little cover there. So put this out. Well, it's raining alright. No luck yet. I pulled up in two places. My rod won't fit in a rod holder because it's got a big button. So I have to hold the thing the whole time. What I've been doing is putting it out, and since I can't backroll, then I put it out and I just a little line out at a time, so I'm managing backrolling so it's going down. Not optimal, but you can't go back and get a different rod out of the truck, so you have to do the whole float. So we're going to make the best of it. Realistically, fish should start coming up the river soon. I think that time starts flooding at 8. That's from 8 to midnight, I think. Not exactly optimal weather. The other thing, I personally don't like fishing like this when it's going to flooding and the water's going up. When the water's going up, it picks up junk on along the bank, sticks, twigs, leaves, and so you got lots of stuff going down the river. And so fish just quit striking at things that are moving, otherwise they'd be striking at everything. And so, when the river's going up, it seems like the fishing's not as good. But we're going to do it anyway. I'll get some fun. It's 10:30 at night. Quit raining for probably 20 minutes. That was pleasant. But it's starting to rain again. Hopefully it'll let up. We'll see. Okay, we're going to get a little heat going here. Hopefully. Holding the button over here, you have to hold the button down for a minute. There we go. Well, that's going to make life a little bit better. Hopefully I can get warmed up. It's been raining for hours. It finally let up. Got my heater going. I don't know if you can see. It's actually steaming. Got a little cold out here today. I'm roughing it. It's about 11 o'clock. Got the heater going, which is nice. I got a little damp earlier. And the temperature, I don't know, maybe 50? I don't really know. But it got chilly enough that I turned the heater on. And one of the things about heaters is, once you turn the heater on, it's always tough to turn it off. Well, it quit raining for about 2 minutes now. So this is kind of what we're looking at. I can say thank goodness for my little heater here. If I didn't have that baby going, well, you can see him steaming. If I didn't have that baby going, I would be one cold puppy. Amazing how nice it got all of a sudden, without buckets of fun falling from the sky. It's a little after 11 p.m. Hopefully you can still see. I have plenty of light. Still got the heater going. Okay. It's 11:30 p.m. It's dark enough now. I don't know how dark it looks there. I can still see fine. I can still navigate on the river safely. The sun set tonight at 11. It doesn't come back up in the morning until I want to see 5. I'll shoot that up here so you can see it. That means that it's only going to get darker for a while. It's already dark enough that if you go down 5 feet in the water, and I'm probably fishing about 8 feet deep. At 8 feet deep, you can't see anything. It's no bait, so it's not like anything can smell anything. If you can't see it, you're not going to get a bite. And so realistically, from this point forward, I'm only wasting my time. And so it's been a fun adventure, but I think I'm going to pull the plug on it and get rolling. Hopefully I get to the takeout before it's dark, because if it's completely dark, I'll have to anchor up and wait till it gets light enough to see. So, better get moving. About 11:45 p.m. You can still see. I mean, this is a relatively tame river, but if it gets much darker, we may have to anchor up. That would be sad. We'll see how it goes. It's midnight, and we are nearly at the highest point of the tide. Last time I floated this, you could see a bunch of bank. Now you can't see any bank, and I don't know if you can see it behind me or not. We'll look at that in just a second. Mosquitoes are out already. So we're pretty much almost in a lake with a tiny bit of speed. So I'm going to start rowing and hopefully beat the highest part of the tide to the boat ramp. We'll see, because what's happening is the ocean is surging in and it's backing the whole river up. And so not a whole lot of forward progress here. But we'll take a look. I'll get a little closer to the bank so you can see how fast the tide is. Then I'm going to start rowing and see if I can get out of here tonight. And I knew this tide was, we got a 20-foot tide today. I knew when the tide was. I looked before I left. I contemplated going all night and just fishing all night. But given that I'm not getting anything, and they're closing this fishery actually on the 21st, it closes at midnight. And so I can't fish past, heck, about right now-ish. And so that's that. And let's see, let me get this run into the bank. There we go. And so this is how fast the tide is going. You can see it's not going very fast. So I'm going to put some speed down to see if we can make it out. I didn't know that it closed. I didn't know that it closed until I was at the boat launch and went to the restroom to change. And I saw a sign there that said king fishing closes on the 21st. And through the 31st, which is the end of the season. And basically what's happened is they haven't had enough king salmon make it into the river, so they're going to shut it down so that any kings aren't taken. It's only been catch and release anyways and no bait for a while, but they've panicked now because they have mismanaged the resource, and so they're hoping to get some kings into escapement. If you don't get enough fish up in the escapement, then what you're doing is you're basically drop it up here. We don't want to do that. And that's what happens when you can't see where you're going. And you get busy yakking. All right, I'm going to turn it off, and we'll see if we can see anything when you get to the boat ramp. So it's 12:15, just after midnight, and GoPros always make things look darker than they are, but it is getting difficult to see. We're down in the estuary water now. It's pretty much just total slack tide. Doesn't seem like water's moving one way or the other. And so, but I think we're getting relatively close. There's a big building down here on my right that I remember from before, but we haven't got to any of the buoys yet. And once you get to the buoys, I think you still got at least a mile. And so we'll just keep on rowing. I think we'll get done. I think we'll get out of here tonight. If we have to, we can always anchor up. And if the tide starts surging this way more, because as we move further down toward the ocean, we will get into the tide that's coming in. But I think we still got about 2 hours to high tide, so you can't fight the tide. So we'll keep going, see what happens. There is a buoy. It's 12:30 p.m. We're down in the buoys, and so it's not too terribly much further. Probably less than a mile is going to be my guess. Oh, you can't see anything. Wow. All right. We'll talk when we have more left. This is that old cannery that we went by earlier in the last video of this same float. You can see there's the steel siding. Just ignore that. But what this means is that we're really close. Notice that, I mean, we pretty much have no tide whatsoever. We might still be under my own power. No, I think it's still going out just smidge, but not much. I don't think you can see the building up there. But so my strategy has been, I know that the takeout is on my right when I'm going down the river. And so I'm just hugging the bank on the right. And I knew that I would find this landmark here. And now I'm just going to stay real close to the bank because the takeout is going to be kind of obscure, I think. There's just a couple walkways that go up to it. They go up and so it'd be easy to miss. So I want to make sure I don't miss it. That'd be a bummer. And here's that boat. That's probably the same boat that was there last time. Nice. And I see there's one more down here. We'll take a look at that on the way by. Oh, there's my boat. You can't see it very well. It's not that far away, but there's another one. Okay, so we've made it to the boat ramp, and there is the boat ramp already. So that far. Let's look back. Yeah, you can see my boat there. If you haven't seen my fantastic salmonless salmon fishing trip in Alaska, check out the end of that. This boat ramp, I'll bet, was 100 feet long. That's probably not an exaggeration. When the tide was out. Now the tide is in. We got a 20-foot tide today, and so it's up tight. So I'm gonna go get my truck, haul this thing up. Alright, so this is going to be tricky because I won't know when it gets up here, I think. It should come all the way up on this ramp and sit right on this flat deck right here when we get done. Well, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.